This is episode number 110 with Travis Fishburn. All right, guys, so we had the amazing opportunity today to sit down with, yes, you heard it right, Travis Fishburn, former Navy SEAL. He was a Navy SEAL for 9 years. He was actually a trainer in first phase of BUDS training, which is the basic training for Navy SEALs, through the selection process, pretty much. We ask him just a number of questions that relate to life, relate to mental, physical, fitness and fortitude, and he's just an amazing guy, and he has so many amazing perspectives that he shares with us and with you guys on this episode. You're going to enjoy it.
Yes, this man has so much depth. He's so genuine, so kind, and he really understands things that a lot of people don't, because we always talk about these people that have been through extraordinary circumstances. They're more in touch with reality. They understand what it means to be a human being in this existence, and what conflict means and what war means. And in this episode, we actually had the opportunity to hear his take on world peace and whether or not that is obtainable. We also bring up how applicable the mental fortitude that he took in his training to become a Navy SEAL is for you in your life and the things that you want to accomplish.
Exactly. And he shares with you guys a really inspiring quote that really sheds light on this idea of how to get through something that's incredibly adverse. Getting through these very adverse situations, whether it's emotionally, physically, mentally, or all of the above. He shares an idea that I want you guys to pay attention to. You'll know it when it comes up. You'll hear it and you'll be like, okay, this is what he's talking about. And it's a saying that he shares and that he lives his life by and shares with other people when they're going through trying times as well. And it's a beautiful idea, and definitely is very inspirational and motivating, whether or not you're in that situation or not.
So guys, if you enjoy this episode, give us a like, share this out to your friends so they can hear his amazing story and be inspired by him as well. This is honestly an episode for the record books.
Travis, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking time out of your day and hanging out with us and sharing your story and everything that you're up to and all that stuff. For the Forge Your Potential Legion out there, give everybody just a brief rundown of who you are, what you've done, just a little biography on you.
My name is Travis Fishburn. I was a Navy SEAL for about 9 years. After that, did some private security stuff. Had a head of security job lined up with Madonna. That kind of fell through.
I read the blog.
Yeah, the blog's good. If you haven't
so
checked
good.
out my blog, I go into pretty good detail about the Madonna story. And then last couple of years, just been going to school and doing some odds and end pieces with work. But now I'm with a company called Gemtech full-time and loving that and still doing some school as well.
That's
Cool
so
deal.
awesome. That's so
Cool
awesome. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. So can you give us a little bit of information or insight into the story around Madonna? Curious to know. I haven't read the blog, so.
Yeah, it's a short and sweet story. A SEAL buddy of mine had the security gig at her LA mansion, and he was kind of tired of it and needed a break, so he asked me to do it. And I said, hell yeah. I mean,
Right.
I can live at her guest house in her mansion, and I get to hang out at the pool all day and just do whatever she needs me to.
Why not?
Yeah.
Right.
Seriously.
So I have about 2 interviews with her assistant, and let's just say I am not a fan of her assistant.
Okay.
I felt she was very spineless and just not a nice person in general.
Yeah.
So after the first 2 interviews, it's still going along well, and then I need to have an interview with Madonna. So I'm like, holy crap, I have an interview with Madonna. But she was in London at the time, so we did a Skype. And I'm sitting at my ex-girlfriend's house, and she comes on Skype, and she's like, hey, Travis, I'm Madonna. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, no shit, you're Madonna.
Right.
And so we talked for probably 10, 12 minutes, and she just asked me a bunch of questions about my life, what I'm doing, where I want to go. She was very professional, very nice. I remember her wearing these badass like workout / fighting gloves, and I'm not sure how old she is now, but I interviewed with her in 2013, and she was very good looking then.
Right.
But the main thing I took away from it is that she was very nice and very professional, way more so than her assistant. Her assistant definitely did not represent her well, I thought.
Isn't that crazy?
Gotcha.
Yeah. We've had similar experiences with some of the guests and different things, reaching out to people's assistants with, they just have a shitty attitude.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's such a shame because a lot of the times these A-list celebrities and these personalities or whatever, they are extremely professional and approachable and kind and all this stuff. It's a weird ordeal for sure.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. Yeah, we have had that experience many of times. I wanted to ask you, go back real quick to your story. School. You said you went back to school now. What are you going to school for?
At the moment, my degree's going to be in health science and
Cool.
possibly a minor in business or psychology.
Gotcha.
I've always been fascinated with health and fitness and working out. I think that's definitely a lot of the reason why I progressed so well in the SEAL teams and actually made it through the training. Definitely my physical fitness helped a lot there. And I just think it's very important in people's lives to stay active and stay fit. So I want to further that career in the health and fitness world. And then also, I like the business world a lot. I've thrown around a couple ideas for some businesses down the road that I want to chase after and see what happens with those.
Cool deal.
Sweet. Has fitness always been a part of your life, or was that something that did you decide that you wanted to become a Navy SEAL and then you jumped into getting in shape for that? And how did that passion for fitness come about?
Fitness started the moment I was born. My family, my dad's side of the family, and my brother, sister, and I were all born in Australia.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't move to America until I was 7. But
Oh,
so
wow.
I didn't find out to the SEAL team until I was probably 12. But prior to this, in Australia, we grew up on the swim team, the track team.
Oh, dang.
We grew up on the ranch riding horses and cattle. And my dad was on the Australian National Pentathlon team, so at a very young age, we were involved in all sports possible. And then that, continued when we moved over here to the States and just grew even more and more into triathlons, into more races and fitness competitions or whatever it may be. And then once I found out about the SEAL teams, that's all I really focused on. And now my training, instead of training for a competition over one weekend, that was just a stepping stone to become a SEAL.
Right.
So all this training now has an end goal. And so it just increased more and more over the years. And as I found out more about the training and how hard it was, I increased my training to try to match that.
Gotcha. Did you find that you had more motivation because you had that end goal?
Yeah, absolutely. And even this day in my life now, I need to have end goals. I need to have a competition 6 months from now for CrossFit, or if I'm going to do some type of powerlifting meet, I need to have some type of goal down the road. Otherwise, I will still work out and train, but I get kind of lackadaisical and I'm just going through the motions.
Dude, yeah, that's been where I've been at the past several months or so. I go to the gym, work out for an hour, and it's just been kind of maintaining, and it's just gotten kind of monotonous. And it's like, dude, I need a program, I need something, because I need that goal to shoot for. And I think a lot of us kind of shoot ourselves in the foot with just getting lackadaisical about, getting into these routines and not having that idea for an end goal.
Well,
I definitely feel that, and I've been there. And sometimes what I'll have to do is I'll take 2 weeks off. And as hard as that is, I'll just do nothing for 2 weeks, and just kind of reset my mind.
Right.
And try to find that passion again. And other times you just need a couple extra scoops of pre-workout.
Get at it.
Yeah.
well, it's the exact same thing with life, right? You got to have that. You got to have that goal. You got to have the next thing that you're striving for. I think that we see this. It's a really good comparable example for life. We see this stagnation in a lot of people because they don't set boundaries and they don't set goals for themselves to strive for.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you should always be trying to achieve something more, whether it's with your family, with your work, with your personal self, with training, or some other new goal, maybe getting another degree in school or something. But you should always be striving to set new goals and push yourself more and more and more. In this day and age, I'll be the first to admit too, it's very easy to slip into a routine and become lackadaisical and just be kind of content.
Oh my God!
And
right.
that's when you kind of need to stick your head in a ice bucket and wake yourself up and be like, okay, let's get one new goal, and then maybe 2 goals a year, whatever it may be. But start small and go bigger, or just go for something huge right out the gate. But strive to be better.
What do you think it is about this day and age that allows people to get to that stagnation?
I think people get comfortable with themselves and with life. I like to push myself out of my comfort zone a lot, whether it's traveling by myself internationally, trying a new sport or hobby that I have no clue how to do, but I'm willing to try it to get out of that comfort zone. I see it a lot with just Americans in general, because we're so privileged and we have things so easy here. Everyone can just kind of hit cruise control and it's happy. It's an easy life and it's fun.
Right.
But
True.
we just hit cruise control and we're going through life.
Right. So do you think that the desire that you have to continue to go and achieve new things and do new things, does that come from your conditioning in the Navy?
I think a lot of it has to do with that for sure. After going through that training and becoming a SEAL and deploying, we have set our standards very, very high, and we expect the best out of each other. And it's always a competition with anything. I mean, you talk to, and then probably go for most military people, it's going to be a competition, whether it's a coloring contest, a shooting match, or like a fight at the gym. It's a competition no matter how you cut it. And coming out of the military, I still feel that way. I still have that passion and drive to be the best at whatever I'm going to be at, no matter how big or small it is. If I'm going to do it in my life, I want to be the best at it. And so I think a lot of that comes from the military.
Right. I would imagine so. You kind of, if you don't have conditioning like that, you kind of have to teach yourself. You have to figure out how to constantly be propelling yourself. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle for a lot of people, not only to figure out what you want to do, but to continue to challenge yourself throughout the process, right?
And life's going to throw curveballs, and you shouldn't always do one job for 50 years. You know what I mean? You're probably going to have a couple different jobs or a couple different hobbies throughout life, and that's great. You should. Let your mind expand more and find new passions. I mean, I'm constantly finding new passions and going through ups and downs on a roller coaster ride. And that's life. It should be like that. There's nothing wrong with that. Just figure out what works for you and what doesn't.
Right.
Exactly. Did you find, going into this idea of the psychology behind, setting goals and going after things, I think another difficult task for a lot of people is staying with something until they can accomplish it. With you and your background, I mean, obviously going through some of the toughest military training on the face of the planet, you faced a lot of adversity. And what advice would you give to people that have a difficult time with just staying focused or staying motivated to achieve something through the process?
Well, I have a saying for harder things in life, and you can relate this to relationships. I've actually said this to a couple of friends lately because I've gone through some bad breakups, or with your work, or with hard training, or you can kind of relate it to everything. And what I like to say is, no matter how hard this is right now, whatever you're experiencing in life, whatever you're going through, tomorrow the sun will rise and the tide will bring something new. So I believe in that, and I vividly remember myself thinking in the middle of Hell Week, I'm freezing my ass off. I'm cold, I'm wet, I'm tired, I'm sandy, my skin's being peeled off, and I'm getting surf tortured at the time. And all I could think about is eventually this will end. It was 6 days of hell, and every day felt like an eternity. But guess what? Those 6 days ended.
Right.
And so just like today will end when this conversation will end, tomorrow the tide will bring something new for us. And that's up to you to decide whether you're going to grab it and run with it, or if you're just going to be washed away again.
Right. That's such an amazing point to bring up, because oftentimes, when we are going through these hard times, it feels like it's never going to end. Whether you are somebody out there listening right now and you deal with depression, or it's just a tough situation in your life right now, but it is the natural cycle. Just like you're referring to the tides. It's there's natural ebbs and flows. Things come and they go. So that's such an amazing insight, especially for dealing with difficult things.
Oh, for sure. Because when you're going through it at the time, it's so disheartening and so just crushing to you, whether it is, depression or a breakup or a hell week or anything. I mean, it's like if you focus just on that moment and this idea of how miserable it is and everything, and you end up, not doing something smart, with your depression, or you end up quitting or whatever it is, it's going to, that feeling is going to stay with you, because you gave into it. I think that's something else that people don't realize too, that when you quit something or when you decide to give up on something, it doesn't stop there. Like, now you question yourself. Now the idea that you've given up on something that you wanted to do sticks with you for the rest of your life, and I think that's a lot more difficult than really just riding the storm.
Sure.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I wanted to jump into going back to my point about finding the drive without any kind of structure or discipline. Do you have any advice for people on how to obtain that drive?
Sure. You can start with jotting down a few notes or make a little list. Write down your goal, what you want, and then some goals are hard. You know what I mean? Very hard. I mean, going through Hell Week was not easy and was not fun by any means, right? But there was so many steps I took prior to that. So whatever it is in your life, write down your goal, and then let's break that down into sections, A, B, C, D, and then let's break that down even further. Like, how can I make that medium point into smaller points to give me the stepping stones I need to check that off? So I like to use that in aspects of my life, especially training for CrossFit competitions or something. Like, I need to be at this weight, I need to be lifting this amount of weight and hitting these PRs by the time this competition comes around. And then I look back, okay, I'm 6 months out. Let's start my training and let's see how I'm going to get there. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to gain 50 pounds on my squat in a week.
Right.
It's impossible. But, a year out or 6 months out, you can gain maybe 10, 15 pounds or something, and you make those smaller goals to reach a bigger goal.
Right.
That's so true. I think a lot of people, they do look at this larger goal and they think that they have to take this one drastic step to get there, but it's not. You just reverse engineer exactly like what you're talking about into little steps to then walk your way there. And I think, I mean, myself included, with certain things in life, I think a lot of us too just expect things to come easy for whatever fucking reason. I don't know why that is. It might be that lackadaisical American in me that just expects things to come easy or something.
Sure.
But
I think the same way too. I want results now.
Right,
I want to be 20 pounds heavier of muscle mass, and I want to be lifting 1,000 pounds. But let's be realistic about it. But now that I've done enough of those transitions in life, I feel like part of that ride and going through those 6 months, a year of whatever you need to get to that goal is part of the journey. And part of that journey is experiencing and seeing your body change, and then seeing these little goals you're reaching. Because then you can start checking boxes off. You're like, sweet, on section A, I've checked off my 2 boxes I needed to reach that back squat. Okay, now I'm on to whatever I need. Instead of worrying about it every day after day, let's get the smaller goals first. And then a couple months down the road, you can hit bigger goals.
Exactly. And that's it, man. Just the journey of it, too. I think that's another thing. Yeah, so many of us just, we want that thing. We want to get to that goal. And we totally disregard that journey of getting there and just how beautiful and awesome that it can be.
Well, look at the work you put in, the time and sweat, blood, and tears. Right. Whether it's with family or with your job or with training, it doesn't matter, across the board. Look back on this last 6 months and realize what you've accomplished. Realize how many smaller goals you've accomplished, and realize how far you've came. And then that'll give you more mental strength too.
Right, definitely. And I think it's partly to do with a lot of the people that have done it, that have done whatever you're talking about. I think the responsibility falls on them a lot of the times. We're talking about why we all seem to have this instant gratification type of idea around these certain topics. I think that there's a lot of people out there that don't show the process. That's not something that they're even interested in highlighting for people. And more so lately, we're seeing a shift in that, where more people are talking about the process and the beauty of the process. But I think up until recently, it's been more of, look what I've done, and and you want to be me, do this, or people trying to sell courses, whatever you're talking about.
Yeah, from the basement to $1 million in 6 months, kind of shit. Yeah.
Right.
But I think some of the most valuable lessons there is all those people fell on their face along the way.
For sure.
Right.
You
But
know,
they don't talk
there's
about
been some, major up and downs in my life, and with training or with personal life stuff, and I mean, I've hit rock bottom, and I've learned from it, and that's given me more strength and power to rise back up again to my new goals or dreams or aspirations. Like, nothing in this life is going to be easy. Like, we are all going to fall and stumble, but at that moment in time, what are you going to do? Are you going to lay down with the pig still, or are you going to rise up and become a champion?
Do you have a story of when that really was applicable to you in your life?
For me, as soon as I found out about the SEAL teams, that's all I wanted to do my whole life, period. I didn't care really about anything else. I had a couple small soccer scholarships, this and that, and school was never my thing. And at the time, after club team soccer, I was kind of burnt out on it. And I just, end of the day, that's all I cared about was being a SEAL. Like, I didn't let anything else in my way. I just focused on that. And so that kind of set me up for the rest of my life. And it gave me a lot of mental strength and a lot of courage and a lot of I don't know, for the lack of a better term, but it allows me to push myself harder in life now. I know that no matter how big or small the goal is with work or with life or with relationships, I can push through that, and I can come out on the other side a better man for it, or I know I won't give up because of what I've experienced.
Gotcha. That's so cool.
Yeah.
What did you do to prepare for BUD/S and for being a Navy SEAL before you went in? Obviously, you were in all these sports and you're doing all this training and swimming and all this stuff. Did you do anything specifically? I mean, what did your routines look like kind of day to day just before you went on this entire adventure of pursuing a
for
SEAL
about
career?
Well, my whole life, like I said, I was training for it, but 2 years prior, I really kicked up my training and took it a lot more serious. So my daily routine would be 5 a.m. swim team for about an hour and a half. Then I'd go to work all day, and then after that, I would go to the gym, and that would consist of weightlifting and running, or just body PT and running. And my workout would take usually hour and a half, and then on top of that, I would be running. Then later that night, again, I might go for another run, or I might do some more cardiovascular training, run some hills, do some sprints. And that was generally about 6-7 days a week. I took some time off and rested when I felt my body was starting to hit that limit and hit that wall. But for me, training for the SEALs, I knew I had to push harder. So when I started feeling that, I would test myself again and maybe push myself a little bit harder, or go for, a 10-mile run instead of a 5-mile run, and see where that threshold for me was.
Right.
So then the more I could understand my body and where I was hitting that red line, then
Right.
I can understand myself better and push myself harder or back off a little.
It's so true, because you hear it all the time, but we don't really know just what we're capable of until we do it. Until we give ourselves like no other choice. And it's amazing how much more capable we are than we think we are.
Sure. A perfect example of that is when I came full circle and became an instructor for my last 2.5 years as a SEAL.
Oh, did you really?
And I was a first phase instructor, and we were
I
definitely
bet
not
that was
known as
fun.
the nice ones.
Yeah.
But we
man.
would test kids on many levels, physical and mental and teamwork. But we would definitely push you to that edge of the cliff. Mm-hmm. And where we knew that was your red line. Like, you couldn't do it anymore. We could see it in your attitude. We could see it in your face. We could see it in your run times or swim times. And then right when we think you're going to quit, we would kick you over the edge and see how you would handle it. Because you do not know how far you can go until you hit that threshold, and then you're pushed harder. And that's when you really truly see someone's colors, their spirit, their desire to want to be there or not. And that's what separates the men from the boys at BUD/S. Because we push everyone the same, but obviously not everyone makes it.
Right. What do you think, I mean, in your experience in being a first phase instructor, I mean, what sets those individuals apart that can meet that threshold and still continue or still make the decision to be there? I mean, what sets versus the other people that decide not to be there?
There's a couple aspects to that. I think your training prior to coming to BUD/S has a huge part in it, meaning both mental and physical. We see guys that are very, very physical fit have an easier time generally. But I've also seen some guys that aren't that fit, but they have some really, really like mental strength, and they just won't give up.
Right.
And they just push and push and push. But quite honestly, you never truly know who will make it or who won't. You could probably guess 75% of the class accurately, but there's 25% of that class where you're like, maybe him, maybe not, maybe him, and people will surprise you. They will surprise you on a daily basis on who will make it and who won't.
Yeah.
So pre-training, and then your desire to really be there. Did you come for the right reasons? Did you come to be a SEAL so you can go to Hollywood and get in the movies? Or did you come to represent your country and put your life on the line, what has much greater meaning and value? So you're caring about something much greater than just your own personal gratification. It's your country. It's the people you love. So I feel people that have those motivations, that desire, will hold on a lot longer than kids that just want to come to buds because they think it's cool, or they want to pick up girls, or whatever their reasons are. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons.
Right. So speaking to the unpredictability of the people that make it and the people that don't, you brought up mental strength, and you're also talking about physical strength, and the people that surprise you. This goes into. I want to talk real quick about laziness. I want to know what you think. What's your definition of laziness? Is laziness something that is a lack of mental strength or a lack of physical strength?
I think it's a good combination of both, but probably more mental strength. Because I can definitely be lazy sometimes, but I am in pretty decent shape right now. And over the last few years, I've definitely been in the fittest I've ever been. But I've definitely been lazy during those times too. And that to me is my mental strength. I know that because I know myself well enough to know that.
Right.
For speaking for us as a country, I feel like us Americans are pretty lazy. And that comes from mental strength. And that just comes from having everything given to you and this life being so easy, and you can bitch and whine and cry about everything and you get it.
Right.
It's our country with fast food and everything is so accessible and easy to have.
Right.
So I think that makes you lazier as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely it's a bittersweet type of thing for sure.
So like I have a professional bodybuilder friend, Leah Dolan. She's over in Spain right now. She's 4 weeks out from her next pro competition.
Nice.
And bodybuilders like that and Chris Gethin, I admire them because they are so dedicated to not only their training, but their diet and their daily routine and how much time and effort they put into it. Now that is a very, very, very awesome way to not be lazy, but also to show you how people can and cannot be lazy. They put in hours of prep work daily and weekly, and that is amazing to me. You know what I mean? That motivates me more. And then you see, a lot of other people just going through drive-thrus every day, just because it's easy.
Right. Yeah.
And that's laziness for you.
Right.
It does seriously amaze me. Like I drive by this McDonald's all the time, and it's right around the dinner time frame, like 5-7 p.m. And it just amazes me with all of the information out there and everything that people have at their fingertips with the internet and everything nowadays, and the availability of healthy eating and just information. It's just like I drive by there and there's literally a line of cars every single day, and I'm like, you've got to be shitting me.
A one-stop shop for everything is bodybuilding.com.
Yeah.
I mean, they have training plans for every goal. If you want to be a pro bodybuilder to just slim down to gain strength. They have nutrition plans. They have supplement plans. They have absolutely everything. And like you said, it's at the touch of your fingertips.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think, and too, I just, going back to kind of talking about people having this idea of not only having a goal, like going way back, we were talking about having a goal to shoot for, but having a strong reason as to why you're doing something is, I think, something that just, talking about laziness, came to mind for me. And I don't think people have really even defined what the hell it is that they even want, or even how to get there. But their reasoning behind it is, I mean, speaking on fitness even, is like, you ask people why they want to get healthy, and they're like, "Oh, I just want to lose weight."
Right.
Well, like, why? Like,
And everyone's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Every individual's different. And,
Right.
And if that's their goal is just to lose weight, then that's great. At least they're doing something about it, right?
Exactly. Right.
And maybe, one person's reasoning is different from the other, but that's their goal and they're doing it. I applaud you for it.
Right.
Instead of being the other person on the couch eating McDonald's once again.
It's so true. It's so true.
It goes beyond. I mean, but it goes beyond. I mean, what we're talking about right now is showing that it goes beyond just get off your ass and do it mentality. Just telling somebody to get off their ass. Well, they have to have a reason. They have to know what the hell they're doing. They have to know what they're going to be going for. Why are they doing it? Right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if there's somebody out there that's sitting listening to this podcast right now, thinking, well, fuck, I guess I'm lazy. What would you say to them to essentially get off their ass and do it?
Well, I'll bring it. I'll use an example with my tattoos. How I designed my sleeve. I got a big piece of paper. I drew my arm on it, so it was life size. Mm-hmm. On the left hand side, I made a list of all the things that were important to me. For some reason, they meant something to me in my life, or it happened to me. Blah blah blah. And then I started placing them on my arm on that piece of paper and how it would flow and how it would look and if I could fit certain things or if I couldn't. And then I took that into my tattoo artist and I said, make this awesome because my stick figures weren't that awesome.
Right.
So what I mean by that is write a list of things that are important to you. Say family, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, school, maybe your health. Have you had your blood pressure checked lately? Are you a little bit overweight? Do you want to do a triathlon in the spring, or do you want to run a half a marathon? Write down what's important to you, and then you can break that down further. Okay, what do I want to do first, or what's more important than other things? Break that list down and see where your goals are. Then see what you really want to do. If you want to go hunting or fishing, you know what I mean. But you might need some more cardiovascular training. So cool. So there's your new reason: is I like to hunt, but I'm maybe 15 pounds overweight. So write a list down, no matter how important other people might think it is. That doesn't matter. It's important to you. Right. So it could be 10 things. It could be 3 things. And then you can break that down into other sections like we talked about earlier.
Right. So let's go to the opposite end of it real quick. I'm curious to know, and this can be super quick because we've already talked about both mental and physical strength a lot. But I'm curious to know, you as a former Navy SEAL, what is your definition of strength in general?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's.
I think that for the definition of strength for me, that's going to come inside of everyone differently. I don't think strength as a muscle thing. I think strength for me is mentally, because mentally you can push your body far beyond what you are capable of, and so it's testing those limits and it's testing yourself. And finding that strength inside you that defines you, I think. So strength for me comes from mentally, and it comes from inside your heart and soul. Like, when are you going to give up, or will you give up? How much heart and soul do you have about whatever passion you have in your life?
I love it.
If that's a definition for you.
I love it.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
For sure. What would be one of your... you could even share a few if you wanted, but some a funny story from Buds, like one of the funniest ones. Either your experience or like the experiences that you were putting other people through.
Yeah, I mean, when I was putting other people through, it was a lot more pleasurable for me than having that done. But I learned a lot from when I was going through as a student. I learned a lot from my instructors, and I took a lot of those core values and used them myself. So even when I was going through training, the kids that I put through got the same treatment as I did in a roundabout way. But I played a lot more mental games with my students, and I wanted to test them that way. So we would my other instructors and I would ping ideas off each other, and then we would test them and set these kids up, not necessarily to fail, but we would test them to see how they would react. And then we could see if they were going to be a team player or not a team player. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't really remember any funny stories, but we would make them do a cartoon per day. Every class has like a great artist, and so they can draw pretty much whatever they wanted. The gloves were off. Be respectful, but you could definitely make fun of instructors. You could make fun of your classmates. Didn't matter. And I have a few from my class still when I was the proctor, and another instructor and I were definitely called Hitler and Stalin a lot because of our antics and tactics. But once the kids got through training, they understood it and why we were doing it. They understood the love we had for our brotherhood, and they understood the meaning behind wearing the trident and why we were so passionate about making sure the right kids got through and testing everyone the same and making sure they got, the best training possible, is because at the end of the day, people's lives are on the line. So we are very passionate about what we do, and we're very passionate about who makes it through.
Right. I love it. I wanted to backtrack real quick. I wanted to ask you, personally for you, what was the drive for you not only to enter the Navy, but to go all the way and strive to be a SEAL? What was the drive for you personally?
Well, in my younger years, it was definitely because they were the best, and they shot guns and blew shit up, and I was like, cool, I want that. That sounds awesome. But then as I got into my teenage years, I realized there was a bigger calling than just blowing shit up and being cool. It was a great honor for me to go fight for my country, and I think all the men and women before me and all the men and women after me, it's a great honor, and I love you for doing that. A lot of people have fought and died for our freedom, and I think there's no other great honor or gift you can give than to serve your country and protect the ones you love. Now, it's not for everybody. Everyone doesn't have to join. That's fine. But for me, I truly believe in protecting the people I love and protecting this country and my freedoms. I mean, as much as I fight for other people, I also fight for my own freedom now because I'm out. And so now the people that are still in and active, they're fighting for my freedom.
Right. Right.
So I have a great respect for them.
It's like one of the most selfless things that you can do as an American.
Sure. And across the board, across every armed forces, has been a lot of, obviously a lot of deaths throughout our wars, and they paid the ultimate sacrifice for us to have these freedoms, and we should forever be in debt to them and always praise them and never forget what they gave up so that we could sit here and have this conversation now.
Right.
And then we can, especially in America, we can drive home without worrying about getting necessarily shot at or have roadside bombs go off. We have pretty good freedoms here, and we live a good life.
Right. It's so true. And I think I'm touching on, kind of Americans in general, again, is just this, and how great we do have it here. We see these war zones in these urban territories, in the Middle East or wherever it is, and around the world, and we don't really grasp the concept that those are people's homes. Those are people's backyards. Those are people's lives. And we're so disconnected from that. And that's something that I want to encourage all the listeners out there right now tuning in, is to think about that for a second. Think about your entire life being turned upside down, having to leave home right now, packing your bags, literally, right now, jumping in the car, going to a different country or going to the coast to get on a ship to go to a different country, whatever it is. And just how stressful and just detrimental and crazy that would be. And just be appreciative of the fact that we do live in this amazing country of America. I know we do have our problems. We have our, the things that we could do better, and there's always work to be done. But take a second and truly appreciate what you have here, or any first world country for that matter.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
I mean, I think one of the biggest issues is because we do have it so cushy here. We don't. It's surreal. It's surreal. It's like it's not even happening, really. I mean, you hear about it happening, but you're like, it just becomes a normal thing that you hear about.
Sure, because our world is just so turned upside down now, and I don't think it's going to get any better anytime soon, just because the more people we have on this planet, the greater we grow. First world countries become more powerful. Third worlds, don't necessarily. So, the future's going to be interesting to see where this world goes, but there's always going to be terrorists, there's always going to be good guys and bad guys, and that's just the way we live now, That's just the planet Earth.
It's so true.
Right.
It's so true. How do you think that we could, how do you deal with these constant things? I mean, we see these issues throughout the entirety of human history. I mean, do you think it's always just going to be a continuous battle? Do you think that it'll always be there? Or do you think there's...
Yeah, I mean, my personal opinion, Travis Fishburn's opinion is, there's always going to be bad people. There's always going to be good people. If you cut it down, just down and dirty, that's how it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that meaning there's always going to be somebody to fight, and there's always going to be somebody to protect. There's a lot of people that do not like Americans in the world, and they want to kill us, and so we're going to have to defend ourselves. That's just the way it is. That's pretty cut and dry and brutal, but that's just the facts. So that's just how I see it, and from what I've experienced. I don't think there's going to be hugs and kisses around the world anytime soon, where we are just one world.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, we've talked about this before. It's not just a matter of some crazy thought processes. It's an entire ideology that we're talking about. It's ingrained from birth to hate Christians, to hate Americans.
Yeah, that's been the beginning of time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's not really a way to thwart that. I mean, there's not really anything that you can do.
Right.
And
even our own country is so divided, especially right now.
Oh my God! Right. Right.
And then the rest of the world on top of that,
Right.
that's just
just magnify that by 100-fold,
Right.
for sure.
I think it's interesting that we have problems here, but the problems that we have here, and the problems, it seems like we make up problems to have here because we don't have enough problems here, right? We make up some fucking what I watched a video just last night about these two girls made a song that they were singing about privilege, and they're talking about everybody that has privilege, and in fact, you can't go. Every sect of person has privilege of some kind, and it's incredibly, it's scary to me. It's scary to me to see that we are becoming divisive for no reason other than we don't have enough problems. Do you think that that's going to get worse, or do you think that we're going to be able to pull our heads out of our asses and fix that problem here?
With this new generation coming up,
It's a doozy.
yeah, it's not looking healthy. I'll tell you that much. And that's again my 2 cents. But we do create more problems for ourselves than we need. It's everyone's crying wolf, and then everyone lets it happen.
Right.
Nobody's really standing up and saying, "Hey, shut the fuck up! You're
Right.
just being a whiny bitch right now."
Right.
Exactly.
No, we're not going to put up with that.
Well, it
you
becomes
go to other
trendy.
countries, and that's not happening.
Right.
The stuff that people that cry here in America, you go to another country, people don't cry that way because people just won't put up with that shit.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's their culture. Our culture, everyone puts up with it. It's if people need a safe place these days, and words hurt. And
Right.
Words hurt. What? It's freedom of speech. Shut
Right.
up.
Right. Well, the craziest part is it becomes trendy. People bitch and they
Right.
whine, and then it becomes trendy to
Yeah. associate
with those people.
Yeah, it just
I don't
turns
know,
into
man.
this bandwagon mentality where everybody, they want to jump on. They I don't know. It's I don't know what it is. I think it's a combination of a lot of things, but just the bandwagon mentality and people, I think, want to be a part of something, and it's extremely easy to be a part of something that is just easy to be a part of. It's so easy to jump on social media and bash so-and-so or bash this or jump on this bandwagon or that bandwagon. And I don't think, I don't know, I don't think people are really truly connected with reality as much as they should be at all.
I agree, especially with technology these days.
Yeah.
Fingertips away, you can talk to people around the world. You can, in essence, buy anything you want off the internet.
Right.
Right.
So,
Or you could watch fucking dog videos for an hour and a half on Facebook, right? And there's too many people doing that.
yeah.
That's the problem.
Too many damn dog videos,
Right.
man.
All right, so
funny.
let's. I want to jump into. You mentioned that you were maybe toying with the idea of venturing into business.
Yeah, I've always liked the business idea and like kind of more or less being in charge and running my own stuff. I like to beat to my drum. I don't really like to, do that whole 9 to 5 thing, if you will. I like a little more freedom. I don't mind that structure. I like that. I like the structure of my life for sure, especially from the military. But I also like to have freedom to do kind of what I want when I want, especially when it comes to traveling. So I've been thinking about some ideas, maybe possibly my own gym one day, like CrossFit style gym, maybe a bar or a pub. And then I kind of started a side business a few years ago where I do safety and shooting and tactics and marksmanship, things of that nature. And I kind of put that to the side the last few years because I moved back to California for a TV show. And that's a whole nother story. But when I came back now, especially working with Gemtech and being involved with shooting a lot more, I'm kind of restarting that back up. So I'll probably start doing in the spring a lot more shooting classes and advanced shooting classes.
Oh, that's
Like it,
awesome.
man.
Are you doing 3-gun?
I haven't done it yet. I'm looking at a couple of competitions coming up, and then come 2017, hopefully do several more 3-gun competitions.
Sweet, yeah.
That type of shooting I really like a lot. I'm not the type of guy that goes out to the desert and just shoot cans anymore.
Yeah.
I need moving ups and downs and shooting steel and highs and lows and like actively engaging. So 3-gun really fascinates me.
For sure, me too. And that's kind of like the place that I've gotten to with going out and shooting. It's like almost even going out and just shooting and plinking at steel is just not as fun to me. I need that. I need something more. I need to be, like you're talking about, in motion and have those ups and downs. And
Also for me, and you could probably relate, is also the competition factor.
Yeah, totally.
Now I'm going against other dudes. They're definitely probably going to be a lot better than me for a while, especially just kind of getting back into shooting. But that's what's awesome. I know they're going to be better than me, but I'm still going to go for it. I'm still going to try and compete and learn from my mistakes and then just keep practicing and try to get better.
I love it. Yeah, and that's a great idea too. I mean, you definitely have the background for doing stuff like that, and with the market that we have here in Boise, Idaho, are you kind of basing this out of Boise here?
Yeah, I'll do. Parma's got a couple good ones.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to probably do some other local ones like Utah-ish, states that are close like that. I'll definitely try to do some, and then who knows what happens. Maybe I'll do decent and go to a couple bigger ones.
There you go.
Right.
Nice.
Get stomped on. I don't know.
Right. Nice. No, yeah, that's cool. And Boise's such a great place for that, and for starting your business too, because we do have all these amazing companies like Gemtech and just, I mean, there's Night Force and all these just amazing companies here in Idaho that are very involved in the shooter world. So
yeah, there is. There's some. It's really cool the industry we have here out of Boise itself, or even out of Idaho. We have quite a big industry of shooters, hunters, targets, whatever you need. It's in our backyard.
Yeah, it's prime.
Right. So let's jump into Gemtech and talk about some of the work you're doing for them.
Yeah, Gemtech's awesome. I kind of fell in my lap. I knew a guy that was working there, Lance Hanning, a good friend of mine, and he kind of was throwing my name around. I was in Australia at the time, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to work for Gemtech?" And I'm like, "What, are you serious?"
Right.
I'm like, "Yeah, let's talk about this." He's
Right.
like, "Yeah, send me your resume. I'll get it to our CEO, Ron Martinez." And so one thing led to another, and I came back, had an interview with Ron. And things took off. He really liked me, and I fit in really well there. A lot of veterans. Gemtech takes care of their employees big time, but very, very big on the veterans. They've had some changes in the past, and with Ron Martinez coming on board, he is aggressive and he wants the best. I mean, he's been hiring all kinds of new fabulous people in different departments, and we are going full speed ahead. Gemtech's been innovating since 1976, and we're coming out with all kinds of new suppressors right now that are going to change the market.
Oh wow!
2017 is going to be a big year for us. I deal a lot with the military and police side of the house, along with several of our civilian accounts. And it's just incredible to work for a company that is so passionate about what you do. Like, everyone there is passionate about it. They love it. And then our upper head shed, if you will, our the big bosses, the big guys, they are taking this company to new levels that we haven't been at yet, which is really cool to be a part of at kind of the starting levels.
No kidding.
Even though we've been around since 1976 with Dr. Phil Dater, who's basically the godfather in the suppressor world.
Right.
He's the reason why we're here. And now with all the new employees on board, we're going to take the company to a whole new level, which is really cool. I've met some great new people, made some new really good friends. So it's nice to see. That's nice to be a part of it.
Awesome.
Seriously, that is, and that's a great time to be in, when everything is just has this huge catalyst and everything's moving forward and tons of innovation going on. That's super exciting.
Right, and a lot of pride for the local area here too.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. We've talked about it many times before, but how Boise is just exploding right now with startups and new innovations and things like that. I think that we shouldn't talk about Boise as much as we do because we're attracting more people here.
Yeah,
but
don't come here.
We need to be careful for that for sure. But that's that's one reason why me, and we stock up on guns, and if anybody tries to come to our state, we don't really want to. Well,
exactly.
we'll have a discussion with them.
Right.
The weather sucks here. It's just it's all around bad. So
yeah, you don't want to come here.
No.
It's not fun. So what's a week look like for you at Gemtech? What do you do?
I'll go in the office around 7:30 and leave around 4:30 usually, and then probably once, twice a month I'll travel out of state to different events. Or see different accounts of mine. So let's see. This Saturday I'm going to Payette to see a new account and do a little demo shoot.
Sweet.
Like take a bunch of suppressors up and let a bunch of people shoot them and have a grand old time. Then in January I have SHOT Show. So that's definitely like the biggest show of the year for us and for every other company in the industry. So that'll be a really big show. This will be my first time there, so I'm pretty excited about that. And then next year we'll travel quite a bit too. A majority of the time in the States, but there might be a few international trips. We are the world leading manufacturer of suppressors, and so we have a lot of accounts around the world: Jordan, UAE, Australia.
Oh wow!
We are all over the world. So that's a really cool factor for me too, since I like to travel so much, and I kind of have that military background. I can definitely relate to people a lot more, and we can build that rapport fast. So we'll see what happens next year with traveling, but definitely a lot of different states, different state travels.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
The job sounds fucking terrible.
Yeah, I shoot a lot too. It's yeah. I'm in a real good place with that. I'm very happy with them, and just I honestly couldn't say enough about them. Everyone that works there from the top to the bottom is kick ass, except for this one guy named Phil. Ugh,
yeah,
I'm not a big fan of Phil.
Phil's just.
I'm hoping Phil gets fired soon.
Yeah. Phil.
Yeah. Just kidding, Phil.
We'll be looking for your.
Well, is Phil listening? Will he be listening?
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so funny.
It's cool to see that companies now. I mean, especially companies that are doing the right thing, that are treating their employees right, because I think for a long time it's not been that way. That's been the biggest issue with 9-to-5s that a lot of people have, right?
Well, our CEO Ron is very big on rewarding those who work hard. I mean, I've been there since July, and I've seen him give out. Like the new iPhone 7, I've seen him give out 2 or 3 pistols to employees to show his appreciation and to show that hard work's rewarded. And I feel that when your bosses realize that and go out of their way for you, then you return the favor and you want to work harder and go out of your way for them.
Right.
And honestly, It makes a great atmosphere. I don't see anyone that's ever mad at work. Everyone enjoys their job. Everyone wants to put in that extra effort. I don't know if there's anyone that doesn't like their job there.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
so cool.
That's hard to find.
It is. It is.
Sure.
And I feel very fortunate that I got quite lucky. Like I said, basically knowing Lance and then kind of having my background, I think helped me out a bit too. So I'm extremely happy about it.
Oh, I'm sure. And I think there's a lot to be said for just showing your appreciation. I mean, whether you are a CEO or a manager, supervisor, or, I mean, in a relationship or whatever it is, I think there's definitely a lot to be said by showing your appreciation for people and their efforts and what they do and everything.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure, no matter what you're doing.
For sure.
Because it does create that dynamic with your team or with your significant other or whatever that is hard to beat, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, man, this has been amazing.
It's been rad, dude.
It's been amazing. You're a good guy, for sure.
I try to be.
Dude, you're doing great.
I had one more question for you before he asks our final question.
Ooh, the big one.
Yeah, but I have a question for you, and I wanted to talk about real quick the Navy SEALs, the idea or the conception around them. Most people just think of them as badasses, right? But is there anything that you can clear up, or is there any misconception that you know of that you want to clear up for people?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, definitely, the past decade, we have been in the spotlight a lot. Some of it for good reasons, some of it for bad. And overall, I think it's been a little bit too much. Meaning, there's some stories in any branch that should be told. From heroism and valor and certain missions, and then there's others that shouldn't be told. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's been some people stepping on our reputation, like our own brotherhood. I mean,
mm-hmm.
And it's hard to see that. But besides that, other rumors or speculations about us, I'll say I'll leave it a mystery. A lot of it is probably going to be true, but a lot of it's kind of sometimes blown out of proportion as well. I think my girlfriend will appreciate this line. I like to say I'm a lover, not a fighter. She'll laugh at that one, but
Right.
But at the end of the day, a lot of the guys are still husbands and fathers. Mm. We go to war. We do what we need to do to get the job done. But at the end of the day, deep down inside, they still have a wife or kids that they love very much, and they're normal people. We like coffee.
Right.
We like to drink alcohol too sometimes.
Yeah.
But we're at the end of the day, we're all pretty relaxed, chill dudes. You just kind of need to open up and see both sides of the coin, if you will.
Gotcha. Right. That's great. I'm glad you brought that up. And it does seem like with the SEALs and special operations and all of these communities being kind of in this spotlight in the past decade, it seems like, or maybe just because of technology too, but it seems like there's been an increase of stolen valor happening, whether it's people claiming to be Navy SEALs or whatever it is. I mean, I watch Don Shipley's videos all the time, him busting people's asses. It's like the funniest thing. People are like, he's like, oh, who was your instructor in your class 131? Oh, it was Master Sergeant. It's like, oh, really? You had a fucking Master Sergeant in the Navy? Like, that's cool.
Yeah. I've definitely noticed a lot of that too, and that's pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
Especially for people who've paid the ultimate price and lost their life for this country, and you think it's great to wear around those medals when you don't even know what people have gone through to get those.
So true.
Right.
Well, on that scale, have you ever had any issues with that? Have you confronted anybody about stolen valor, or have you caught anybody in that? Or
off the top of my head, no. I don't think I've ever had to really question anyone or had any issues with that. I've definitely heard friends that have, or it's been close enough to me where like I was like, oh shit, I really don't look forward to the day that I have to deal with that, because I think it'll hit a sensitive subject,
Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, for sure.
Right.
And like I said, I'm a lover, not a fighter, so
Right.
Right.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So the final question is a question that we ask all of our guests. And the question is, if you had right now the entire world's attention, everybody was listening to you, what would you say?
Ooh, well, this is a pretty big question, huh?
Yes.
What would I say? I would say that, deep down inside, we're all humans. We all have passions in our life, people we love, things we care about. If we all just take a step back and just cherish those and live life and not worry about what other people think or say or do or try to kill each other, just take a deep breath in life, enjoy it. I think everyone would see that we're all a little bit more alike than we think we aren't. I'm a big believer in living life to the fullest and enjoying everything in life and not taking things for granted. So just take a step back, enjoy life, and don't get caught up in all the bullshit.
I love it. That's so awesome.
It's amazing. We always have a different answer. You would think that the answers would be pretty straightforward, but everybody gives a different answer, and they're always amazing.
Yeah.
And on that, if you see me out at a bar, you better buy me a fucking beer.
Yeah. Yes. Buy him a beer.
Right.
Travis Fishburn, awesome dude. Thanks so much again for hanging out with us, joining us this evening.
Yeah,
and,
my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We'll put links to Gemtech and to. Do you have any way that people can contact you for any of that stuff?
Yeah, majority of the time, people either write me on my Instagram page.
Oh, okay.
Tell you the truth, or you can write me on Facebook too. Either one doesn't really bother me. Both those are great ways to get a hold of me. Or if you want, you can even email me, fishburn.travis@gmail. I always try to be very responsive. If I'm not, please forgive me. But I usually get back with people within 24 hours. If I'm traveling for work, it might be a little bit longer, but I have a lot of people actually write me on Facebook and Instagram asking me different training questions or things about life.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay. Perfect.
Also, did you say you have a blog? Do you have a blog?
Yeah, I have a blog. Mainly, I just write about my travels and adventures and Madonna things and stuff like that. But yeah, that's fishtales.us.
Fishtales.
Yeah, spelled Tales.
Perfect. We'll link all that stuff up in the show notes for everybody too. We'll throw Gemtech's website in there and everything as well. But again, Travis, dude, thanks so much for joining us. Everybody out there in the Forge Potential Legion, remember as always, today